Hello everybody, my name is Julo, and today I will be going into a ranking for each school in max level PvP in Wizard101. So, I guess I'll get started pretty quickly here and just go into the last place spot, or school rather, which is Life. Life has no utility. It's basically ice but worse. Bad damage, bad with bubbles, no shield breakers, and no low pip overtimes. They do have arguably one of the best lore spells in the game, but are confined to just spamming it. And we all know what that is, that's Luminous Weaver. So, they are, however, pretty good at keeping opponents from doing full damage though, so Life is not to be underestimated. Life is the school of mitigation, and a good Life Wizard will never let themselves take the full force of an opponent's attack. Though healing is no longer worth it, it can be a catalyst if you have a Sanctuary up or if you just have good heal boost, or a combination of both is pretty good as well. Number 6, Storm. The school of chance, as I call it, definitely goes to Storm. Low health and limited utility again, but their damage output can be insane, especially in Shrike. There's a pretty good big gap between Storm and Life, but Storm is easily countered by the smallest things. An Aegis Tri-Blade removes their ability to one-shot you, a set shield removes their ability to hit you hard enough until they take it off, and plenty more. However, they do have some crazy spells. Insane and Wild Bolt are pretty cracked, and if a Wild Bolt hits max, or an Insane gets rolled on you, then you're definitely in trouble. If you don't blade and they reach 11 pips, expect to get one shot even through a Tower Shield. Blading against them is tough because while they may not have the best utility, Storm is unmatched in removing blades with spells like Enfeeble and Catch of the Day. Another massive gap later, and we arrive at Fire, number 5. Fire is the school of pressure. It's the damage class that has much better utility. Shielding against them is a no-go since they can just elf you for 2 pips, single blades might get stolen, and even though Ifrit did get nerfed, -90s still exist, and don't be surprised if someone uses one on you, especially if they have an Ifrit pet. It's always good to prepare for one. Fire's traps also help them a lot, and you should never underestimate a fire that trap stacks. Fire's stacked with good spells like Hephaestus, Brim, Ifrit, Elf, and many more. Their lower than normal health typically isn't even a problem, because it's common to see fires running the turquoise robe and getting themselves above 8k health. Number 4, Death. Despite how one-dimensional the school's playstyle is, Death has a ton of spells they can use to win a match in just a few turns. Blade stacking into a Shrike into a Vengeful Seraph, and getting Virulence along the way, is extremely easy, and if they double shield you can just green oak a tower right off, because no school other than Myth is going to give up the 5 training points to get either shield from Cyrus, and then just Vengeful through a set shield. Additionally, for far fewer pips, you can just Deadly Minotaur and do 7k on a back-end hit, leaving your opponent extremely vulnerable. Nobody's stopping you from just stun blocking into 4 different blades into a Shrike into a Death Minnow. Once a Death strikes, the opponent has to determine if they should prepare for a Vengeful Seraph or a Death Minnow, and if the Death Wizard has both in hand, then you straight up lose. Another perk of playing Death is that even if you fumble the match, you can just Scion if you get below 130 your health, and that's another game-winning card. They lack bubbles, but it doesn't really matter a whole lot when they stack enough buffs otherwise. I don't need to mention Poison, the incredibly useful overtime Death has, as well as their Shads and Lore spells. Okay, maybe just Headless, but Death is the school of versatility, so it's not much of a surprise. Oh yeah, and you can't minion against them. They'll just heal back all the damage you deal to them with an AoE drain like Call of Curlew. Number 3, Ice. Ice is the school of endurance, and rewards slow but precise play. Ice is severely lacking in the spells department, but makes up for it in that Ice Wizards have the best stats of any class in the game, bar none. 70 global resist, 10,000 health, 25% block, 20% crit, 32 pierce, 98% pip chance, and 110 plus damage if you're not warded. Give up 6 damage for a ward and you've got 85 resist to 1 school while maintaining around 110 damage. 2 wards and you've got about 105 damage. 3 wards and you've probably given up the Maycast, so 105 damage with 85 resist to 3 schools and 70 to the rest. That is easily the best stat loadout anyone can ever wish for. The few spells they do have are enough to win matches too. Frostbite, Polar Swarm, Icebird, and Weaver are very, very good spells. Ice definitely has the utility, but the playstyle is more of a whittle them down kind of thing. And it works. Any offense-defense move is incredibly good, and Ice currently has the strongest one in Abominable Weaver. They're unfortunately restricted to overtimes when it comes to utility though. Stealing the occasional tower shield is a good move, but everyone is loaded on thermics because of it. And they can also just Icebird to get a blade off of it. The real pitfalls of Ice are their offensive capabilities. Their stats are enough to make everyone and their dog use Ice Ward, and with the recent Shrike changes, Shriking is a horrible idea for Ice Wizards. Not to mention, Weaver never reduced backlash to begin with, so Shrike into a bomb spam is never gonna work. And with all the changes that has happened recently, it's extremely hard for an Ice to win a match against someone who's warded, unless of course the Ice is warded to the opponent's school, in which case the Ice becomes untouchable, and with Ice's focus on shields, it creates a win by default situation and is widely regarded to be the best setup in the game out of any school. I personally think Troll Spellmenters now hold that spot, but a warded Behemoth is nothing to mess with, even if you're warded to them too. Number 2. Balance. Balance is the school of manipulation, and this is due to their excellent ability to control the match in basically every way possible. You bubble, the recent bubble change allows Balance to bubble back. You shield, Gaze's second hit will go around it and change the bubble at the same time. You or your pet casts an aura, Supernova will take that away and do 1200 damage on an open hit. You want to build pips? Mana Burn will do enough damage to make you use those pips, or want to use those pips, and put you at a major health disadvantage at values as low as 7 pips. Beating a Balance is tough, but it involves fast attacks and a lot of anti-RNG, meaning your pet can't cast an aura. Shriking is a bad idea because they can just diffuse you, and if you're in elemental school, you can't shield against them anymore. Lovely. And then if you're Ice, why are you a Shrike to begin with? Number 1. Myth. Myth is the school of adaptation. Think of a move a non-Myth wizard can make, and now think about the counter that Myth has for that move. I've touched on some schools that were pretty versatile in what they can do, but let's go over some of the things that Myth has. A 0-pip minion that hits every round, a 2-pip hit that can do 1k damage on an open shot and summon a minion that constantly puts on traps and occasionally breaks a set shield, a 2-pip card that changes a bubble and breaks a shield, a 2-pip card that puts a trap on your opponent and breaks a shield, a 4-pip hit that also puts a trap on your opponent and does good damage, a 4-pip spell that puts the last 2 ticks of an overtime back on the opponent, a 5-pip double hit to get around a shield, a 5-pip hit that does 900 base damage. Balanced, I know. A 5-pip hit that does good damage and also shields you, so Abominable Jr. An 8-pip hit that stuns you for 2 rounds if you don't stun block. An 8-pip overtime that does insane damage if you don't get rid of it. A 9-pip overtime that stuns, making triage not worth it if you didn't stun block. A 10-pip hit that steals a pip, making combos very easy. An 11-pip Scion that's extremely easy to set up, and you can cloak one of the pairs of stun blocks. so nobody knows if you're going for a Scion or not. A 5-pip shat hit that literally breaks a shield before hitting. Tell me that's not broken. And they also have the most powerful 6-pip shat hit in the game that also, just to rub salt in the wound, summons a minion. Crazy. And with this new test realm, a 7-pip shat hit that has a chance to Medulla style confuse you. Wow. Who at King's Isle thought this was a good idea? Oh man, dude. Because they have all of these cards, Myth is without a doubt at the top of this list and probably will continue to be for a long time. The utility that Myth has is unmatched by any school, and if you counter one thing, you'll just get hit by another. Anyway, thank you for watching. My name is Julo, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.